All right, today we are jumping into one of the oldest, most painful questions in human history, but we're going to look at it from a completely different angle. The source material for this explainer makes a wild argument that suffering isn't proof against a loving creator, but actually, it might be the best proof we have for one. I know, it sounds counterintuitive. Let's get into it.
This is the question, right? It's what sits at the very heart of faith and also of doubt. It's the challenge philosophers have wrestled with for thousands of years, and it's something you've probably asked, I've probably asked, in a tough moment. This is the big problem we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so before we dive into the big ideas, the source for this explainer says we have to ground ourselves in reality. We need to face the sheer scale of the problem first. To really get a handle on the why of suffering, we got to look at the what. And yeah, the numbers are just, well, they're overwhelming.
So what's this number? 9 million. That's how many people die every single year from hunger and related causes. 9 million preventable deaths every single year. It's a brutal place to start, but it's crucial to understanding the scale we're talking about.
And what about this one? 123.2 million. That's the staggering number of people who've been forced out of their homes. We're talking war, violence, persecution. To put that into perspective, that's literally 1 in every 67 people on Earth. Think about that for a second.
So, okay, when you're looking at numbers like that, it's pretty easy to see how you get to the classic case against a loving God, right? Let's walk through that argument, because honestly, it's a powerful one. It's built on what seems like straightforward logic. I mean, from where we stand, a lot of this suffering just looks senseless. It feels like a total failure of empathy on our part, or just the cruel lottery of birth. We see it as this absolute evil, something that just shouldn't exist.
And that's what leads us straight into this classic philosophical trap. It's often called the argument from evil, and it's a really tight logical case. It goes like this. If God is all-loving, he would want to stop suffering. If he's all-knowing, he'd know how to stop it. And if he's all-powerful, he could absolutely stop it. But suffering is everywhere, so the logical conclusion seems unavoidable. A God like that just can't exist.
But this is where everything changes. The source material for this explainer argues that this whole logical dilemma, it just kind of falls apart if we're looking at it from the wrong perspective. If our time frame is all wrong, it really is all about context.
And this quote right here, it just nails the central idea. The argument is that we've been trying to solve this eternal puzzle using only the math from a single, short lifetime. To really get why there's pain, we have to zoom out. I mean, way out.
It's like this. You can pull a single sentence from a book and completely twist its meaning, right? The source says that's exactly what we do with suffering. We're ripping it out of the full context, the full story of a soul's journey, and then we're totally misunderstanding what it's for. Okay, so if pain isn't just some random, cruel glitch in the system, or a sign that nobody's home upstairs, then what is it? Well, this is where we get a total reframing of the idea. Pain isn't the enemy. It's actually a vital mechanism designed to protect us and help us grow. Let's see how that works.
This really shows the two different ways of looking at it. On the one side, you have our usual take. Pain is bad, it's cruel, it's a sign God isn't around. But this source argues it's completely the opposite. It's more like a warning light on your car's dashboard. It's there to protect you, it's a teacher, and it's a tool for helping us grow spiritually.
And get this, there's a powerful real-world example for this. There's a rare condition where people are born literally unable to feel pain. You'd think that's a superpower, right? But it's not. They break bones, they get terrible burns, and they don't even know it. Their lives are often tragically short. It turns out, pain is absolutely essential for our physical survival.
And what's crazy is we already get this concept. We live it all the time. Think about it. We let a dentist drill our teeth because we want long-term health. An athlete pushes through agonizing training to win. We make huge financial sacrifices to have a home for our family. In all these cases, we are choosing short-term pain for a bigger, long-term gain. So, what if all of life's hardships are just that, but on a much, much bigger spiritual scale?
And that brings us to the big question. What is the ultimate goal of this journey? If all this hardship is the school fee, let's say, then what's the graduation? Well, the source suggests there's a very specific destination in mind, and a specific way we're meant to get there.
And that destination is a state of being the source calls perfected pure love. The logic here is pretty simple. For a place like heaven to stay heavenly, the people in it have to be, compatible. You can't have selfishness and cruelty and anger there, or it stops being heaven.
So achieving this state of pure love, that's the massive mountain we all have to climb.
And we're not talking about some fuzzy, feel-good kind of love. No, this is super specific. It has to be continuous. You never turn it off. It has to be for everyone, no exceptions. It has to be unconditional, meaning you give it no matter what people do. And it has to be completely selfless. So how on earth does a normal, flawed person like you or me ever get to a state like that? That is a huge challenge.
The argument is that one lifetime, it's just not enough. It's like trying to get a PhD in a single afternoon. It's impossible. So, in this view, Earth is basically a school of love. And to complete the curriculum, you're going to need more than one semester. And that, right there, is where the idea of reincarnation comes into play.
Now, this isn't just presented as a matter of faith. The source actually points to two different kinds of evidence. You've got the theological side, finding hints of this idea in major religious texts, but then you have the secular side, which points to things like the decades of research at the University of Virginia, where they've documented thousands of cases of kids with shockingly specific past life memories. And you also have the common themes from near-death experiences, where people often talk about a life review and feeling like they have a mission to go back and complete.
All right, so let's put all the pieces of the puzzle together. When you take the idea of pain being a teacher and you combine it with the concept of an eternal soul that learns over many lifetimes, what you get isn't a picture of random, chaotic suffering. Instead, you see a deliberate, purposeful system, an architecture of hope.
So to sum up this new way of looking at things, pain isn't the enemy, it's our guardian, our teacher. Life isn't a punishment, it's a school designed to make us ready for a perfect, loving reality. Hardship isn't random. It's the very curriculum that helps us get over our own egos. And suffering is actually an investment in our eternal character.
And I think this final quote from the source just says it all perfectly. The evidence for God is not found in the absence of the storm, but in the purpose of the wind. It suggests that maybe we've been looking for proof in all the wrong places. Maybe the real proof isn't in the quiet, peaceful moments, but in the very purpose of the challenges that shape who we are.
So that leaves us with one last thing for you to think about. If you start to see hardship not as a meaningless tragedy, but as a potential part of a much bigger, purposeful plan, does that change how you look at the challenges you face in your own life?
This entire explainer was based on the really thought-provoking work of John Cantillo. Thanks so much for joining me.